Good evening. I'm Serena, and this is Inside News, bringing you the global stories that don't make the headlines. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, 2025. While major networks chase the same 5 stories, we're tracking developments that shape our world in quieter but profound ways. Tonight, we cover breakthroughs in green energy, conservation victories, technological firsts, and the voices demanding action on climate justice. We begin in Africa, where Ethiopia achieved a milestone in pharmaceutical regulation. The Food and Drug Authority reached WHO Maturity Level 3 status, a rigorous benchmark that strengthens vaccine and medicine safety standards for over 120 million citizens. This advancement positions Ethiopia to reduce dependency on imported pharmaceuticals and builds regional capacity for health manufacturing across the continent. In Namibia, the government finalized its green hydrogen framework, committing over $500 million to infrastructure in Sao Kaib National Park. Production begins in 2027, with Germany as the primary export partner. Environmental groups raise concerns about water consumption in this arid region and impacts on local biodiversity. Senegal launches Africa's first AI-integrated public transport system in Dakar. The platform, developed by local startup Sentitech, optimizes bus routes in real time. Average commute times dropped 18% in the first month. Lagos and Nairobi officials are studying the model for their own cities. Off the coast of Mozambique, marine biologists from the University of Cape Town documented significant coral reef recovery in the Quirimbas archipelago. The restoration follows a community-managed marine protected area established in 2020 that restricted industrial fishing. The study provides evidence that local conservation efforts can counter climate damage to marine ecosystems. A Congolese court in Kinshasa sentenced former President Joseph Kabila to death in absentia, along with 50 other defendants, for their alleged involvement in the 2001 assassination of his father, Laurent Désiré Kabila. This verdict stems from a long-delayed trial that underscores persistent political instability and accountability efforts in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Moving forward, the ruling may intensify diplomatic tensions, particularly as Kabila resides in exile, potentially prompting international calls for fair appeals processes to stabilize the region. Moving to Asia, Bangladesh initiated the Nodi Bidyut project, converting 5,000 diesel river ferries to electric propulsion over the next decade. The first phase retrofits 50 vessels in Barisal Division. Partial funding comes from the Green Climate Fund. The government projects a 15% reduction in transport sector emissions and decreased noise pollution affecting aquatic life in the nation's extensive river network. In Uzbekistan, archaeologists discovered a previously unknown Sogdian city near Samarkand, dating to the 6th century. The site contains preserved murals and coins, indicating it served as a hub on a northern Silk Road branch. This finding reshapes understanding of trade routes between Central Asia and the Byzantine Empire. Manufacturing activity weakened across the region in September. PMI indices fell below 50 in South Korea and Vietnam due to reduced demand from the United States and China. The contraction affects millions of jobs in export-dependent economies. Analysts anticipate policy stimulus measures by the first quarter of 2026. In a development from Yemen, government-in-exile representatives and Houthi officials agreed to a joint water management plan for the Sana'a Basin. The United Nations mediated the technical agreement in Muscat. The plan coordinates efforts to replenish the depleting aquifer, serving millions. Observers view this as a confidence-building measure for future peace negotiations. Seoul's subway system announced AI will replace voice announcements after the original voice actor's cancer diagnosis. The transition affects 10 million daily riders and pilots on select lines. The change maintains service continuity while honoring the contributor's legacy. In Europe, Scotland's tidal energy farm in Pentland Firth exceeded projected output by 10%. Orbital Marine Power reports turbines generated over 40 gigawatt hours in the past year, powering approximately 12,000 homes. This validates tidal stream technology as a reliable renewable energy source. Portugal became the first EU nation to pass a digital inheritance law, establishing legal frameworks for transferring digital assets after death. The legislation covers social media accounts, digital files, and cryptocurrency holdings. Legal experts monitor whether other member states will adopt similar models. Albania completed a 5-year reforestation project along the Vjosa River, Europe's last major wild river. The government planted over 2 million cypress and pine trees. Satellite data confirms a 30% increase in forest cover in designated zones. The World Wildlife Fund supported the initiative to restore natural floodplains and prevent erosion. Denmark warned of Russia's ongoing hybrid warfare during a Copenhagen summit attended by 47 leaders. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen highlighted incidents including Baltic cable disruptions and disinformation campaigns. The summit focused on coordinated responses to non-traditional threats. Crossing to the Americas. Brazil's National Institute for Space Research released data showing Amazon deforestation decreased 40% year over year, reaching a 15-year low. Renewed enforcement policies, enhanced satellite monitoring, and international cooperation through the Amazon Fund drove the reduction. Challenges from illegal mining and agricultural expansion remain. Medellin, Colombia, won UNESCO's Urban Futures Prize for its Barrio Lab program. The initiative empowers communities to design technological solutions for neighborhood challenges. Projects include solar-powered water purifiers, mesh networks for free internet, and rooftop hydroponic gardens. The bottom-up approach offers a model for resilient urban development. Chile and Argentina signed an agreement creating the Nevado Ojos del Salado Binational Park around the world's highest active volcano. The park establishes a biological corridor for species including the Andean cat and vicuña, while restricting mining in high-altitude wetlands. This marks significant progress in environmental diplomacy in the Southern Cone. Barbados completed its transition to a 100% electric public bus fleet, the first country in the Western Hemisphere to achieve this. The final diesel bus was decommissioned in Bridgetown on September 30th. The Inter-American Development Bank co-financed the project, which serves as a blueprint for small island developing states. In the Pacific, the Islands Forum issued a unified declaration calling for an international treaty on climate displacement and relocation. Drafted at a summit in Suva, Fiji, the proposal seeks legal rights and funding mechanisms for populations displaced by rising sea levels. The declaration targets the agenda for COP30. Pacific Island students fighting climate change received the 2025 Right Livelihood Award for their advocacy at the International Court of Justice. The group of 500 members represents vulnerable nations like Vanuatu facing sea level rise affecting 12 million people. The recognition amplifies calls for emissions reductions at upcoming climate negotiations. Australian agricultural tech company SoilSynth completed trials of a microbial spray that restores arid land to fertility within 2 years. Tests on a 500-hectare plot in Western Australia showed soil carbon levels increased 150% and water retention improved threefold. The technology offers potential for combating global desertification. New Zealand introduced legislation granting legal personhood to the Waitaki River. Culturally significant to the Ngāi Tahu iwi. Following precedent from the Wanganui River, this would give the river legal rights with appointed guardians. The bill deepens integration of Maori worldview into the nation's legal and environmental framework. Vanuatu announced plans to power outer islands entirely through decentralized solar and coconut biofuel microgrids by 2030. The first microgrid became operational today on Maiwo Island, providing reliable electricity to 600 residents for the first time. The initiative aims to eliminate dependence on costly imported diesel fuel. From green hydrogen in Namibia to tidal energy in Scotland, from coral recovery in Mozambique to digital inheritance rights in Portugal, these stories represent more than isolated achievements. They demonstrate communities and nations forging solutions to shared challenges while the spotlight shines elsewhere. The news that matters isn't always the loudest. Sometimes it's the engineer in Senegal coding smarter bus routes, the marine biologist documenting reef recovery, or the student from Vanuatu arguing for climate justice at the highest court. These are the stories that build the future. I'm Serena. Thank you for watching Inside News. Good journeys to all.